What's going on, fam? Welcome back to the channel. Thanks so much for joining me today. Today is episode 5 of the Instagram Q&A. Make sure you go follow me on Instagram at noah.cavanaugh, and I will make sure to see your questions Mondays, early morning Pacific Standard Time. It will be open for 24-hour period through my story, and it'll be a Q&A. Submit your questions there. I'll answer it in a 10-second video on Instagram itself, and then I'll go in and I'll do an entire open forum Q&A on YouTube, which is a great way for me to answer the questions more in depth, especially for those who need more explaining, and it's a great situation. So Discord or Instagram, preferably both. Would love to have you on both of those. And without further ado, guys, let's hop into the Instagram Q&A, episode 5. All right, question number 1, what ball is your favorite that you've played or trained with? This is a hard one because I don't really care as long as it's it's a good ball to play with. I grew up playing in the street here in Seattle, and I beat the crap out of most of the balls that I played with, so it didn't really matter if it was a really nice one or a really crappy one. It ended up shredded no matter what, and I just ended up playing with it. So for me, as long as it's pumped up nice and it's a good PSI, which is like pounds per square inch for those of you who don't know, I think it's a different metric in Europe or the rest of the world who uses the metric system, but basically the ball pressure, right, the air pressure. And as long as it's pumped up well and it's got a little bit of padding on it, decent padding, it's not rock hard, I'm kind of like whatever. Like I'll play with whatever. I think some of the new Nike balls are really cool. That new what is it called? Aero Swift or something. I'm really like balls for me. I'm a huge boot nerd, but balls for me are like totally out of my league. I have no idea what I'm talking about. I do kind of remember, I'll put some up on the screen over here. Pictures of ones that I've really enjoyed in the past, and I don't know the names of them. I'm sorry. I've played with a bunch of Nike ones. I do really like the Select balls. That's actually, here we go. This is the real answer to this question. I do really like Select balls because they fly really true. There's no weirdness to them. Yes, you can still knuckle them, but it's nothing compared to some of the Nike and Adidas balls in the past, like the Jabulani from the 2010 World Cup that would go all over the place. Players were complaining about it. That kind of ball is nice to play with. I don't really mind it, but I'm like, I want to play with a ball that's just really solid. And when I was playing in Denmark, we played with the Select balls. We also played with those at LA Force. And I think the USL, most of the USL and NISA uses I guess NISA is now Hummel, but USL uses Select balls as well as the Bundesliga and some other leagues, and I genuinely think Select balls are one of the best. They're a Danish company, and they make really quality balls that just fly really well and really true. So they're really predictable in the way that you can hit them, you can bend them, you can do everything that you want to do without this technology crap. So I don't know, like for me, those are the simplest ones, and those are the ones that I like the most. But again, I'll throw some up here and just so you get an idea of the ones that I've really enjoyed in the past. Question number 2, are you going to sign for a team? Yes, I will. I will hopefully, cross my fingers, be signing in the September-October time. I am just getting back to full fitness. I will be given the green light by my surgeon hopefully next week, and he can say, yep, your foot is all the way healed and you are ready to go full pace back into full contact training, at which time I will start to train with a couple amateur sides here, maybe a UPSL side, something like that, just to train with a team, just to get my feet back under me and training with a full squad. And then I'll probably go to Ottawa and do some training with OPSM and that crew there, and then I will be hopefully signed and or have trials with a couple clubs in USL 1 and NISA just to get my feet back under me for the remainder of the 2021 year. And then once we hit 2022, 2022, I'll have trials in those leagues and higher leagues in 2022, so that I'll be ready to go and back basically where I started when I first got injured. So that's kind of the tentative plan, but yes, I will be signing for a team soon. Question number 3. Would you rather wear Phantom GT or Vapor 14? Bar none, Phantom GT. Those fit my feet way better than the Vapor 14. The Vapor 14 and Vapor 13, they fit very similarly. The Vapor 13 is actually, in my opinion, one of the reasons my foot broke and it's a really stupid reason, but it's because I thought they were amazing looking. I liked the way they felt when I played in them, but they genuinely crushed my feet, and I have had doctors tell me that having shoes that are too tight like that can actually be really harmful for your feet long term. Long term stress fractures happen over long term, right? So really be careful. And so that's a long way of saying Phantom GT without a question. I don't care if they're a little bit quarter size long. I will wear Phantom GT 100% of the time over a Vapor 14, even though the Vapor 14 is super cool looking and it's a really, really good football boot. And objectively, it's better than the Phantom GT in my opinion, technologically and weight and all that stuff. But the Phantom GT just fits me better. Question number 4, height and favorite position to start in. So I think that's my height. I am 5'11", and my favorite position to start in is left back or left wing back. Either work really well. I love playing left fullback, wing back, and right fullback and wing back are great. But the left side is where I'm comfortable. I am left-footed for the most part. Pretty ambidextrous, but I prefer dribbling with my left foot, so that makes it kind of easy. But again, if I'm going to play winger, I like the right side, so whatever. Left back is a simple answer, and I'm 5'11". Question 5. Do you know about many semi-pro and pro women's leagues? That is a wonderful question, and I don't really, other than I know women's, like top women's leagues around the world. I'm familiar with the women's league here in the United States. I know that the USL, like WUSL, I think, is coming very, very soon. And so the women will hopefully have a first division and a second division that are both fully professional. The men's right now have 3 divisions, so first, second, and third division. But I think across the world, you've got quite a few professional divisions in most countries. So the Premier League women, you've got, one of my friends plays in Iceland in the women's league. So I don't really know what they're called, and I don't know any specifics. I do watch games of the US first division, the professional league, like Portland Thorns and Seattle Reign and all that stuff. But I don't know. That's a really good question. I should probably know more, but I just don't, particularly because the demographic of the people who pay attention to my content and my channel, like 98% of them are male, so it's kind of hard for me to focus a lot on both, but I will definitely do more research on that and get those sorted, because I think there are, especially in the US, there are more professional women's leagues coming in the very near future, which is super cool. Question 6, football boots for extremely wide feet. Fantastic question. If you have extremely wide feet, like you've got the widest, absolutely the widest feet possible, Copa Mundial and Mizuno Morelia 2 are classic leather boots. You can't go wrong with either of them. The Copa Mundial is going to fit the absolute widest feet possible. But if you want something that's modern and you don't actually have feet that are this wide and this long, I would say Rebula Cup made in Japan is really good. Phantom GT is pretty wide. The Puma Ultra 1.1 and 1.2, although they just got discontinued for the 1.3, those are really wide as well. Tiempos usually have pretty decent width to them. And the Copa Sense .1s, I wouldn't recommend the laceless ones, but the laced ones you can probably stretch pretty good. So I'd say those are my top. But if you have really wide feet, but you want a really quality boot, I would say go with one of the Mizunos, because they'll be fairly wide, especially the Morelia 2 made in Japan. Those are like the OG, and I have a review on those, so you can go check that out on my channel. But those are beautiful boots, and they're super comfortable. Question 7, any hints on which team you'll be joining next, or still not decided? As I mentioned before in the second question or first question, I am joining a team soon. I have hints, but I'm not going to give them, because that is a process that kind of needs to be kept pretty, not secretive, but just that's a personal thing. And then once I do sign with a team, I will share with you guys where I'm going. Obviously, you'll see vlogs of where I travel to, but I may not say where I'm traveling to. It's kind of one of those things, like for most situations, it's not very good to put out there right away or beforehand where you're going. Just do it, put in the work, get signed, and then you can announce it. So no hints, unfortunately. As I said, it will probably be in USL or NISA, USL 1 or NISA so third division of the United States in the professional leagues here. So that's the biggest hint I can give you, and that's the biggest hint you'll get until I actually sign with a pro club here in the United States. Question 8. Do you know any pro footballer who has a 9-to-5 job? Yeah, yes, but no. Strictly 9 to 5, I don't think so, because most teams practice from like 8 to noon, or they'll practice from 4 to 6 or 4 to 7 or something like that. So not really. If I do know players who, in certain professional leagues where they train way later at night, I think it is possible, but you kind of have to be creative with your hours. A lot of players will, oh, there's a Blue Jay behind me. That's kind of cool. There is lots of opportunity and a lot of necessity, actually, for a lot of pro players to have a part-time job. So whether that's bagging groceries for 4 hours in the morning if you've got training in the evening, or whether that's coaching, a lot of players, I know a ton of footballers who work around their training schedule for doing 1v1 training. So they'll go and do like 1v1 stuff or small group training sessions, and they'll make money through that. So I don't know anybody, I don't personally know any footballer, like pro footballer, who is playing signed professional and also has a 9-to-5 job, because the training, like the prehab, the training, the recovery, the cardio, your own individual sessions, all that stuff amounts to like 4 to 6 hours a day. To put an 8-hour job on the tail end of that, or on both sides or whatever, would be pretty crazy. But as somebody who works like a maniac outside of football as well, like I guess I have a 9-to-5 if you don't count me being working from 9 to 5. I'm usually training in the morning and then working from like 11 to 7 or 8 at night. So that's, I don't know, like I guess, but I don't know anybody personally who has like a traditional 9 to 5. Question 9. What drills should I do at home since we can't go out on the pitch yet? Lots of individual training sessions. I have so many videos in my library. You can go to the training session, the videos that I've put into the training session, what do you call the playlist, I guess, on YouTube on my channel, and you can look at all the ones that I did in Australia. I have so many different individual training drills. You can do them with a can of beans if you don't have cones, or if you have cones, that's fantastic. Go out to a pitch, go in your backyard, this is a tiny little strip in my backyard, and this is fantastic for getting really good touches on the ball. You can get little sprints with the ball, turns, or if you have a space that's like a 3x3, you can also do really quick, tight touches there. Lots of repetitions, lots of really good touches on the ball, and that's stuff that I would focus on. Or if you have a wall, like a concrete wall or something like this, there's like stairs behind me. So it's, concrete probably only about this much. It's like not even half a foot, but if you can bang the ball against that over and over and over again, awesome, awesome, awesome. Or go out in your street, and if you've got a curb, right, you've got the sidewalk and you've got the street. If you got a little curb there, pop it up, trap, pop it up, trap, over and over and over again. One of the best techniques that you can master just in your backyard or on your street. So that's a good place to start. But again, go to the playlist called Training Sessions on my YouTube channel, and you can find tons of individual training sessions that I've done and individual drills. You can make put your favorite of all those and put them together and all that. So that's a good place to start. Question 10. What are the worst boots you've ever worn? Whew. That's a good question. I would say the most issues that I've ever had with a boot were probably my second. Oh, they were the boots that I wore I'll give you two answers, because the first one is going to be sort of a cop-out. It was when I was a really young kid. I wore they were the Predator Power Swerve David Beckham's. They were white with gold accents with his like kicking guy logo. And they were beautiful, but they were the one step down. So they were this absolutely horrific synthetic leather, and they weren't good for my feet, and my heels got shredded. I tell you, it was so bad. I'd bleeding out of my ankles and my heels for so long, and I was only like 12 or 13, but I just suffered for so long with those, and I ended up not wearing those for very long. The second pair that I don't think I should have spent as much time in, the worst football boots. So objectively speaking, these were some of the best football boots I'd ever worn, but for my feet, they were the absolute worst. And those were the Vapor 13 Elites. And I know people are gonna hate me down in the comments, but for my own feet, again, this is a personal question, what are the worst boots you've ever worn? I just, those boots I could not handle, and I just wore them for way too long and ended up with a broken foot. So those I would say were just like not my favorite boot to wear, and those were like the worst for my own feet. But to be fair, I don't know. Like there are other ones that I've worn here and there that are kind of random, but at this point in time, there's not any like bad boots. It's just bad boots for whatever foot shape you are. So that's something to think about. Final question, question 11 for this week's episode of the Instagram Q&A, episode 5. When you started, where did you think you'd be at now? To be honest, I don't know. For me, it's about little micro details and big picture. So big picture vision, as we talk about in our Zoom calls, which you can join. They are totally free. We're doing 8 weeks. We started on August 1st and we're going through September 19th. I will throw all of the information down in the description box below, but we talk about vision, right? So big picture, I have my huge dreams and goals. I reverse engineer those and I have the tiny, tiny little details. I know that my path is not going to be linear to playing for the Seattle Sounders, right? So if that's my vision, that's my goal, I'm wearing number 17, I know what it feels like, I know what it smells like, all that stuff, right? I've got my big picture. I've reverse engineered that. I know the little details of how I'm going to get there every single day, but those details in a box sometimes are going to wave and do this depending on injuries, depending on connections, depending on what agency I'm with, depending on timing, depending on how old I am, what positions are needed. There's a million different factors, right? So if I have understanding that I can control every little detail on the day-to-day basis that will compound to get me to the big time vision, it's the middle stuff really never matters to me. And not to say that it won't matter to me, it doesn't matter to me now. Like when I get signed for my new club, I'm going to be stoked. It's going to be a huge part of my journey and a huge thing, but that's still a step towards my main goal, right? Which is to play for the Sounders. So for my home team. So again, at the end of the day, it's really important for me when I look at like, okay, when I was super young and I had this dream of mine to play professionally, did I know I was going to play for LA Force? No. Did I know that I was going to play in Denmark? No. Play in Spain? Absolutely not. Did I want to? Sure. But it was a dream at that point, right? So at the end of the day, you have to think about what's my big time vision? What are my little goals that are going to get me to this place? And then the middle stuff, everything that happens in the middle sort of adds to it as time goes on. So it's not going to be totally concrete. It's not going to be linear. It's going to be very curvy. You're going to have tons of different things, roadblocks. You're going to have people say no, all that during, right? So right now I'm recovering from an injury. Did I want the injury to happen? Did I plan for it to happen? Heck no. Are you kidding me? I would love to have stayed in Australia for another 6 months and played for Rockingham. I loved that club. I thought it was awesome. I had a fantastic coach. We would have done really well together. But things happen, and that's just something you have to deal with. So again, always stay positive. Think about your big vision, control the small details, and let everything unfold with all the hard work that you're putting in. So that's what I would just think about as you move forward in your career. That's it for the video, guys. Thanks so much for joining me today for another Instagram question and answer. Again, go to my Instagram at noah.cavanaugh, hit that follow button, and on Mondays, Pacific Standard Time in the morning, I'll be posting stories every single Monday where you can ask whatever question you want about football, boots, equipment, the works, how to get into pro clubs, all that stuff. And I will be answering them on Instagram, and then I will be taking all those questions and answering them long form here, so you guys get much more in-depth answers to all the questions that you have. Make sure you go down in the description box below. You've got the Discord chat. Would love to see you guys in the Discord, and would also love to see you guys on the Zoom calls. We've had some amazing Zoom calls. We've had 3 so far as of this filming this video. We have our 4th, our halfway point coming up this weekend. It is the 20th of August today. Make sure you go down in the description box. You'll see all the links for those, and come join us. It is totally free, and we have question and answer after those as well. So that's it for the video, guys. Thanks so much for joining. Hit that subscribe button. Make sure you like the video if you got value from it. And as always, be awesome. Take care. I'll see you guys in the next video.